now.
Okay. Guess where we are, family? We are at the home of Mr. James Owens Pope, who is, oh my goodness, I cannot tell you, one of my favorite uncles. He has given us the privilege to come over and talk to him and allow for you guys to learn more about your family. The Patrick Johnson family and friends reunion is scheduled to take place September the 2nd through September the 4th of 2016 in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And I am so privileged and pleased to be here this evening on August the 26th of 2016 with Mr. James Owens Pope, who will be honored at the reunion for this 2016 year. Congratulations, Uncle.
Thank you.
So, where will I start? Let's start from the beginning. Tell me what you know about the history of our family as far back as you can remember and as far back as you can recall.
According to the documents on Marcellus and Gina Patrick, I'm coming from the year of 1867. 1867 is either a little bit before or after the Civil War, where you had Marcellus Johnson and Gina Patrick. Gina Patrick had 5 children. John, I used to call him Uncle John Patrick. Tom, and I used to call him Uncle Tom. Uncle Ed, Aunt Alice, and Mary Patrick. Now, as I said before, Gina Patrick had 5 children. Uncle John and Uncle Tom resided in Wilmington, North Carolina, and they formed, they had lots of acreage. As a kid, my father and mother took me on the train. That's the first train ride I had to Wilmington, North Carolina, East Wilmington. And they grew livestock, pigs, they grew catnip, and peanuts. It was an interesting scenario.
Now what we want to ask my dear uncle, Mr. James Owens Pope, is about the land that our family acquired. Our family, for those that don't know, we had possession of a whole lot of land. And so Mr. James Pope is going to explain to the family about all this land that we had acquired. So, take it away.
Okay, well, in one way I wish I could, and another way I could speculate.
What year are we going to talk about?
Well, you talked about before and during the Civil War. I've always been told by several family members that are actually older than I am, that the land in Wilmington, I guess it was 46 or 47 acres in East Wilmington, that was turned over that was inherited from the mother of Uncle John and Uncle Tom. Supposedly, don't quote me on this, supposedly the land was owned by Irish. And when the Irish fled, because of the Civil War, such crisis, they turned their land over to Gina Patrick. And she turned it over to her two sons, Uncle John and Uncle Tom. And they kept that land and farmed that land all the way up until around 1960, the early part of 1960. This has to be researched. And in order to research it, we must go to Wilmington and find out the censorship of what really happened there. Did the Irish have anything to do with that land? We need to find that. So that's where we are now. And that would be first generation. Was the young lady, the first Patrick an Indian? Was she the little girl that was supposed to have been captured by the Irish? Probably indentured to work. Was she a slave? We don't know. But by the next family reunion, we should know something because now we know where to look. Keep in mind that Marcellus and Gina Patrick, we're talking about the year of 1867. They had 5 children, and the children were Uncle John, Uncle Tom, Uncle Ed. Now, Uncle Ed settled in Atlantic City, and we're going to come back and talk about that too. Aunt Alice married Uncle Noah. And Aunt Alice, you're talking about 1884 to 1949. And then she had a sister by the name of Mary.
So, okay, now we're about to go into our second generation where we're actually are going to talk about my great grandmother, and her name was Mary Patrick, and she unioned with William Johnson Sr. So,
yes, that's quite interesting. Quite an interesting story. William Johnson Sr. was from Barbados. He's the one who played the bass guitar and pulled teeth over there on James Street.
wow.
They had 6 children, and the 6 children were Sudie, Reverend Buddy Johnson, my mother, who was Geneva, Alice, and Maryville. Alice and Roosevelt Johnson. Yeah. That we called him Big. And he was very funny. I had a time with him. These are people that we actually know. These are the people that we laid hands on. Now, Aunt Susie had 6 children. And those 6 children were James Wilson, Inez, Emmett, we call him Morris, Charlie, nicknamed Bo, and that's Marion, I'm sorry, and we call her Babe. And from that point, Sudie's 6 children, again, Sudie, Uncle Buddy, Geneva, my mother, Roosevelt, Aunt Alice, and Maryville.
Do you remember the year that my great-grandmother, Mary Patrick, and great-grandfather, William Johnson Sr., when did they get married?
I don't have that information. And again, I just have to dig to find out. But I do have some information that I have not recorded, and I know you would love to hear it, but I have it in pieces. And on this documentation we're doing now, I won't be able to give it at that time. But now, there was one person in there that died prematurely, and that was Alice. Well, a terrible thing happened. She went to visit New York to see Uncle to be before married there. I can't tell you the year right now, but she had a heart attack and died on the subway. It was a tragic, very tragic death. She had a heart attack and died on the subway. She was 22 years old. She had no children. Now, Susan had 6 children, and they were James Wilson, Inez, and that was Morris, that was Bo, his name was Charlotte, and Faye, her name was Mary. Now, Susan was the first child of Mary Patrick and Will Johnson. And I'm giving it to you in order. I'm going to say Susan, I'm saying Buddy Johnson, I'm saying Geneva, and Roosevelt, I'm saying Alice, and I'm saying Marybelle. Marybelle was the youngest child.
So the next oldest child?
The next oldest child was Uncle Buddy. Uncle Buddy, his first marriage, he married Ann Moses. And he had 3 children by her. And the second marriage, there was 1 child. The 3 children was K.O., and that was Pat Johnson, and that was William Johnson III, we called his mother, and he resided in, and he was also a reverend, and resided in New York. Now, getting back to Reverend Buddy Johnson. Reverend Buddy Johnson married, the second marriage was Hattie Gunson, and she had 1 child, and that child was Charlotte Gunson.
All right, the Patrick Johnson family reunion. And we're here at Mr. James Owen Pope's home in Baltimore, Maryland. And he has some very, very, very vital information that he's sharing with our family for our upcoming family reunion that's scheduled to take place September the 2nd through September the 4th for 2016. Now, Uncle James, we talked earlier about the family, the union of Mary Patrick and William Johnson. And we shared, we talked about the children that came from that union. So can you share with us how many children did Mary Patrick and William Johnson have?
Well, before we get into that, I would like to rebuttal some things that I've already, getting back to James Wilson. We call him James Allen. Well, James Allen had 2 children. He had 1 child that died very young, and that was Michael. And also, Richard is the second child. But one of the things I want to mention about James Allen received the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor. And one of the interesting things that I didn't know until I really sit down before his death to talk to him. James Allen served in the Marine Corps, and it was very interesting. It was a situation similar to the situation that happened in Alabama. James Allen served in the Montford, M-O-N-T-F-O-R-D, Montford Marines. And I had to look it up because I never heard of the Montford Marines. But our President Obama called the Montford Marines, which existed in 1942 to 1949, to Washington to present them the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor. And one of the things when I saw James Allen, he showed me the first time I ever put my laid hands on the Gold Medal of Honor, but it was very heavy. I remember him showing it to me, and I actually held it. What happened is that during World War II, the Montford Marines, now when I say Montford Marines, we're talking about a situation that happened when the military was segregated. They trained on an island called Montford. They didn't train with the white Marines in Jacksonville. They put them over an island called Montford. And that's where they get the name called Montford Point Marines. They don't exist, but the foundation does. The foundation is called the Montford Point Association, which still exists. But after 1949 was the last roll call of the Montford Marines. So everybody goes to Jacksonville, when everything became segregated. And I asked James Allen, I said, why did you guys, why were you honored, in terms of receiving the Medal of Honor? He said because they did two skirmishes over in Germany, and they came up on top. They won those two battles, and which changed the course of World War II, and which is the reason the black Marines proved that they were just as capable as the white Marines. So they proved themselves. So that's the reason why they all came together under one Marine. They had to cut out the Montford Marines. They were all together now. So that's the reason for the Montford Marines. Thank you. Okay, so we talked about James Allen and the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor, which was presented to him by President Obama. Another thing I would like to do, we have a very gracious family, a very tight-knit family. And I was put in a situation that after teaching school for 2 years in North Carolina, I sort of wanted to move on. And I want to thank Bo, Charlotte Smunson, his wife Gloria, and his family for taking me in when I went to New York. He treated me just like I was, his brother. And I really appreciate that, because I was trying to further my education and my educational experience. Is the reason I went to New York, and I actually got a job teaching in New York, but I never taught, because at that time the union was on strike. But anyway, I just want to thank Bo and his wife, and for putting up with me those years that I was, my early years of teaching.
Awesome. So just for the record, we just wanted to again mention that with the union of Mary Patrick and William Johnson came 6 wonderful children. And those 6 wonderful children, Mr. Pope, if you could reiterate those 6 wonderful children from the union of Mary Patrick and William Johnson.
Okay, see, I don't want to miss anyone. But Mary Patrick, William Johnson, that was Suli, that was Reverend Buddy Johnson, Geneva Johnson, Roosevelt Johnson, and the child that died on the subway, that was Alice, who died, like I said, she died in New York, and Maribel, who was the youngest.
And Mr. James Allen. He was actually, James Allen was his mother was
Susie Johnson.
Susie Johnson, okay.
And the reason I put 6 children is because I heard rumors that there was a death before James Allen was born. And I don't know, I can't document this, but as far as I know, the oldest child was, James Allen Swenson. Then Vivian Inez and Emmett Morris and Bo, I think his real name is Charlie, and Marion, who was Babe. These are the children by Suli that I'm most familiar with.
Okay.
If anyone knows any different, please let the committee know.
Absolutely.
Because we're in the pursuit of excellence.
That's right. That's right. Well, again, we want to thank you, Uncle James, for all of this knowledgeable information that you have researched and all of the facts that we have gathered so that our next generation and that generation that comes after and that generation that comes after will have this legacy that we're going to be passing on. And as Uncle James mentioned, we're not finished with where we are. We're going to continue to do more research so that in the next 2 years, God willing, that when we come back together, we will have even more factual information about our roots and our heritage of where we've come from and where we're going. So we want to thank our uncle, our wonderful uncle, who's being honored for this 2016 family reunion celebration. And Uncle, I wish you nothing but the best. You look great. You look awesome. I don't know if you want to reveal your age, anything like that. Or
73 years old.
Oh my word, 73 years. Well, you know what? We're going to say 73 years young because he looks amazing. And you know, if anybody know about our family, we look young. You know, you would never know our ages because we look so young in our age, that melanin in our skin and how we really take care of ourselves is really important. And he's my healthy uncle. He looks great. And I'm hoping and praying that when I reach 70 plus, that I look as awesome as he does.